Welcome to the top 10 fails of Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. In no particular order, the 10th fail in the movie is to kill or not to kill. So the Emperor has been trying to kill Rey from the start. This is established in the movie. He couldn't kill her, so he killed her parents, and he's always trying to kill her. But then, towards the end of the movie, the Emperor says, Rey, you have to kill me. That's a complete contradiction. Because if he had killed Rey, then Rey wouldn't have been able to kill him. Now, the Emperor needs Rey to kill him like he wanted Luke Skywalker to kill him, because it means the protagonist will become the antagonist. The protagonist, the hero, will take the place of the dark side leader and become an even more powerful dark side leader. Or maybe the dark side leader is going to his spirit's going to go into them. I'm not sure which it is, but basically the leader of the dark side needs to be killed by a Jedi, an all-powerful Jedi. So why is Palpatine trying to kill Rey when he needs her to be alive to complete his mission? The 9th fail in Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is super duper power is no match for the woman. So the Emperor is ridiculously powerful in this film. He is insanely powerful. He is already mad powerful in the original trilogy. He fucks off. He's had like 30 years to get his shit together and learn even more force powers. He literally, physically sucks out Rey's force powers into himself and Kylo Ren's force powers. So the two most force-sensitive living people, he sucks out all their energy and retains it. And then he EMPs a 10,000 plus strong fleet of spaceships, of good guy spaceships, takes them all out like it's nothing with his force lightning. And then this all-powerful Emperor that killed Darth Vader without even looking at Darth Vader. He sneezed on Darth Vader and Darth Vader died. This guy gets instantly killed by Rey, who's just holding two lightsabers and pushes his force lightning at him. What the hell? So women are more powerful than super duper mega hyper turbo Sith Lords. This is also really annoying because the dark side was always known as the most powerful side of the Force. And that's why the dark side was so menacing. It doesn't matter how hard you try, they play dirty. They're going to use serious force lightning and they're going to fuck you up because there's no limit. There's no limit for them in where they'll go to become as powerful as possible. They'll go to places the average person shouldn't go. And that's also why people were so seduced by the dark side. Because no matter how much of a badass you are as part of the light side, you'll never be as badass as the dark side. They're always going to be stronger. So once you become a master, a force master, you're going to have a bit of an ego and the dark side will be really, really tempting. But in this movie, the light side just becomes more powerful than the dark side because the Emperor was always pretty much unkillable, but now he's definitely unkillable. Definitely. He's had 30 years to get even more powerful and he's sucked out the life force of Kylo Ren and Rey. So he's the ultimate dark side power and he's pissed away by Rey, the woman, like that. So, yeah, now the light side's better than the dark side. So there's no drama, there's no tension anymore. The light side will always just win by default. And they basically sacrificed all that delicate kind of structure, dramatic structure, just to push a trendy feminist agenda in the movie and make women super powerful. Women are more powerful, important to Star Wars now than the original franchise which made it all, which is ridiculous. The 8th Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker fail is kill or be killed. So we've already established with point number 10 that the Jedi has to kill the dark side leader in order for the dark side leader to kind of prosper and grow and continue the legacy, right? And that's why in the Star Wars films, the good all-powerful Jedi, never kills the dark side leader, because if they do that, they're basically going to become a dark side motherfucker. And that was a real enigma that was best left the imagination. What really would have happened if Luke Skywalker had killed the Emperor, right? I think we all kind of thought Luke would never have turned to the dark side. Even if he had killed the Emperor, he probably would have gone through some mad psychological shit, but he never would have turned to the dark side. So it was left to our imagination to wonder what exactly would happen if you kill a Sith Lord. I love that enigma. It's so mysterious and it really gets the imagination going. Would Luke really turn to the dark side? These are questions that we continue to ask many years after the film came out. But in this movie, although the Emperor reiterates all of that and says, you have to strike me down and then you'll take my place and you'll become super powerful, or he's going to possess her. And basically by killing him, which is what he wants, he's going to become even more powerful, or the dark side will become even more powerful. Then in this movie, Rey does kill him and then nothing happens. So Rey doesn't become evil. So what was that really, really important part of the original Star Wars trilogy plot all about not being able to kill the Emperor? Because Rey's just done it, and actually it's all right. That means Luke shouldn't have thrown his lightsaber away. He should have just killed the Emperor, and then we wouldn't have gone through all this shit. So this destroys the original Star Wars, the narrative structure. It's just unbelievable. The seventh fail of Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is biblical powers. So Rey can heal things in this for no reason at all. It's far too powerful an ability. She brings Kylo Ren back to life. She can bring anyone back to life. And that means when someone dies, you don't give a fuck, because you know it's gonna be all right. There's no tension, there's no drama. There's no stakes. No one can die because Rey can just heal them. Why can she do this? How can she do this? Where did she learn this? It reminds me of John 4:46-54, healing the royal official's son in some fucking place that I can't pronounce. It also reminds me of John 5:1 to John 5:15, healing the paralytic at Bethesda in the Bible. So these are Bible stories where Jesus is healing people. Rey can do it. You can see the parallels. Women are just basically the Messiah, the second coming. The sixth fail of, I don't know why I'm going 10-1, but that's what we're doing. The sixth fail of Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is Leia is a Mary Sue too. So all women in the Star Wars universe have to be portrayed as amazing. So in this film, Leia is getting trained by Luke Skywalker to the point where in The Last Jedi, she can become Mary Poppins and fly invincible through the vacuum of space, which is a force power that's probably more powerful than anything else you've ever seen in any Star Wars movie. And not only that, but in this movie, Leia bests Luke fucking Skywalker in a lightsaber battle. What the actual fuck? This makes women look boring. They can just fucking do anything because they got tits. Great. Nice logic you got there. The fifth fail of Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars Episode 9 is, what the fuck are you still doing here? The Emperor's still alive. Honestly, how? It was not explained. He's probably the central part of the whole story. The Emperor, he's still fucking here. So you definitely have to explain what happened to him. Did he teleport? Did he fly down a ventilation shaft like Luke Skywalker when he fell off the bridge in a similar kind of place and he went down that kind of ventilation shaft and came out and he was saved by his teammates? What happened to the Emperor? It was never explained. That's ridiculous. How you could get that far into directing the movie and never explain why the main character's even there or how he survived is unbelievable. Someone alludes to it once in the whole movie, I remember. A character goes, oh, it's like the dark side power, cloning or something. That's not enough. That's not enough. You need a great reason for the Emperor to be here, and you didn't give one. The fourth fail, biggest fail in Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is touchy-feely. So, Luke Skywalker and other characters in this film can kind of touch people even though they're not in the same room as them. So Kylo Ren snatches Rey's necklace off. Rey passes a lightsaber to Kylo Ren even though he's not in the same room. And probably the worst of all, Luke can he catches Rey's lightsaber when she returns to his hermit planet where he's become an old cynical bastard and his character has been ruined by Disney. Rey throws her lightsaber away and Luke catches it. What the actual fuck? There needs to be some kind of limit on these powers. If there's no limit on these force powers, or there's no limitations at all in the universe, whenever something kind of that's supposed to be interesting or magical happens, it falls flat because it's not surprising. It doesn't contrast with anything. Anything's possible in this film. Luke Skywalker, a Force ghost, can now touch things. Force ghosts can touch things? Then why is Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first movie not chipping in and helping during the fucking fight with Darth Vader? All he has to do is pitch up and knock him out, mate. Because they can touch shit now and they're Force ghosts. So then that makes me wonder, before Luke Skywalker was a Force ghost, and assuming a Force ghost is weaker than a real living person, why couldn't Luke Skywalker just beat up Kylo Ren in the last movie when he was projecting himself? Because Kylo Ren could snatch necklaces off people, so why can't Luke Skywalker battle Kylo Ren? Why the fuck didn't he just go and fight him in the flesh in the first place? Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost, I said I wasn't going to get angry. Whew, calm down. Luke Skywalker as a Force ghost in this movie, being able to touch shit, completely destroys all the rules of the Force and basically destroys Star Wars narrative structure. It's fucking insane. What is that all about? The fourth biggest fail in Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is no one ever really dies. Nerd. So, Kylo dies in this, but he comes back to life because the Messiah, Jesus Christ, reincarnate Rey, heals him back to life. Chewie dies in this, but actually he's not dead, he's still alive. They go and save Chewie. C-3PO dies in this. He has his memory erased, but then they bring it back. It's all right. Palpatine has come back to life already from the beginning. Rey dies, but then the guy that she brought back to life brings her back to life. It's bring back to lifeception. If when you die, you can come back at the drop of a hat, at the click of a finger, it means when you die, it's not shocking or doesn't have the impact the scriptwriters want it to have. Death is supposed to be the most shocking, traumatizing part of any film that you can't come back from. It is final. It is forever. In this, death is just cheap chump change, plot mechanic, laziness. Fucking hell, how many reasons have we got here? I haven't numbered this right. We've done 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so the second biggest fail in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is horsey-worsey. So there is a scene where there's a load of horses riding on the outside of a Star Destroyer. Fuck off with that. The biggest fail, or the number one fail in Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is no limit, baby. Let me hear you say, na 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 na. There's no limit. There is no limit to any force powers in this film. Rey is so ridiculously OP. The Emperor is mad OP. Basically, a character is only as impressive as the world's limitations allow them to be. Our world, the real world, is of course full of endless limitations. All we do is bash our heads against limitations every single goddamn day. So the slightest taste that we might be able to kind of exit those limitations, even for a brief flicker, a brief moment, is extremely enticing. And that's why the limited force powers in the Star Wars movies were so interesting. If you can do anything, however, then when you do something and there's no limitation, it's not that impressive anymore. snatching the chain from Rey through teleportation makes all of the interesting telekinesis in the previous Star Wars films seem not interesting anymore. That's chain snatching light. And the telekinesis was cool because it was within the limits of the Force powers, And we all have fantasies about, how far we can kind of bend the boundaries of stuff. But there's Superman shit is never possible. So as a watcher, as a member of the audience, you have to be able to relate to the characters a little bit. And you do that through their limitations. Having these limitations always left room to grow for Jedi, which was also an interesting part of the story. And it also leaves the imagination kind of buzzing, right? Oh, imagine they could do this, or would that Force power work? The harder the struggle, the more compelling the story, basically. And because the Force powers are unlimited, the story is not compelling whatsoever. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's pretty much all of them. There's a couple of honorable mentions. So this is kind of like 12 fails of Star Wars, but I'm going to add in a few honorable mentions. Another fail of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is bullshit Bandaids. So there are so many Bandaids over the plot holes in the original 2 movies from the recent trilogy that try to masquerade as part of the story all along, but they were clearly just shoehorned in there at the last minute. You cannot say, okay, so the first film and second film don't really make sense, but because of something we're going to add in the third film, now it all makes sense. So you can rewatch it and they're going to hold up on their own. They don't. Every single movie needs to hold up on their own and be self-contained. So let me give you some examples of the Band-Aids that they tried to quite cleverly put in, but they didn't work. They fell flat. So Rey's parents, not explained in the first 2 movies. It's too late, motherfuckers. If you explain it now, it doesn't matter, because we don't like Rey, because we don't know anything about her. We can't relate to her. She's a Mary Sue. She's overpowered. She's a feminist social experiment. But I think, not having any parents really just gave her no backstory whatsoever. Unlike Luke Skywalker, you can see exactly where he came from, his origins. And so making Palpatine her granddad, and then you can see who her parents are, is just a Band-Aid. They tried to make it out as if they planned this from the first film, but I highly doubt that. It's pretty obvious the way that this, because of how flimsy this script is, that they just put this in as a Band-Aid at the last minute and kind of pretended that they've been thinking that all along and planning it from the beginning, when they clearly haven't, because the original 2 films were awful and made no sense, just like this one. Also, the First Order, I said in my original review of Force Awakens, I should say rant, my original rant about it, rant/review, that the First Order was basically the Empire. And in this movie, you have Palpatine, who is actually pulling the strings of the First Order, and then he's going to make the final order. So I was right. The First Order is just the Empire. And in this movie, they try to kind of explain that by saying, oh, actually, Palpatine made the First Order, so that's why it was so similar to the Empire. Again, it's a Band-Aid. You try to copy the original films and make some new bad guys, but you were so lazy in your script writing and so out of ideas that you were piggybacking off the original legacy, and it just became another Empire. So now you had to explain why it's like the Empire, because Palpatine was behind it all along. Rey's being OP, so she uses a Jedi mind trick in the first film with no training. She's amazing with a lightsaber with no training. She beats the antagonist in the first film with no training. She fixes the Millennium Falcon. She's better at flying the Millennium Falcon than Han Solo. They try to put a Band-Aid over that in this one by saying she's Palpatine's daughter, so she's really powerful. Even Palpatine obviously needed to do some shit to become how he was, you'd have to assume. But you need a character arc, basically. You have to have a character arc for pretty much everyone. And, you had the character arc for Darth Vader, you had a character arc for Luke, you had a character arc for Han, you had a character arc for... everyone had a character arc, but Rey didn't have one. And they're basically trying to just fill in that hole by saying, oh, she's Palpatine's granddaughter, so that's why she's really powerful. You cannot tell me from the first film that they planned it so that she was Palpatine's granddaughter, and that's why they weren't telling you why she was so powerful. They're keeping it a secret. It was just, again, bad script writing, bad casting, bad characterization, and they needed to try to explain it somehow. So they just said, okay, so Rey's Palpatine's granddaughter. So those are all bullshit Band-Aids. And the final and bonus 12th reason, bonus 12th biggest fail of Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, is Men are the bestest. So this movie kind of flopped because it needed a male lead. It needed a male protagonist. The original movies were made by men, and they're basically a male fantasy. You've got Han Solo, who's got a wicked sports car, Millennium Falcon. He's got a cool dog, Chewbacca. He's got a gun, doesn't take any shit. The movies are about fighting, testosterone-fueled battles, about war, about getting the girl, getting the princess, driving the fast car, the Millennium Falcon, shooting guns, slashing swords, masculinity, courage. All those things are a male fantasy. That's what the films are built on, like it or not. That is the truth. And because Disney are incredibly woke and left-wing, they refuse to display any men doing anything masculine whatsoever. They want to emasculate men in this film. Poe, for example, there's a scene where he says he wants to kiss the woman. In the original movie, Han Solo would just kiss her, right? In this movie, he asks for permission. He's like, do you mind if I kiss you? And she doesn't even give an answer, because men can't be shown to be romancing women, because that's patriarchy and that's dominance. And the film needed a male lead. It was too infused with identity politics, with feminism. And yeah, there's just too much progressivism in this film. Liberalism, going unchecked, will just destroy everything. Liberals want to tear down statues, rewrite history, and just switch things up for no reason to create a mess. The far left, I would say, not all liberals, but the far left want to do that. And that's what they did in this movie with their feminist agenda. So men are the bestest. It needed a male lead, basically. Poe was also dismissed in the movie as being a difficult man. More evidence to back up what I just said. There's no hetero kiss at the end. Poe tries to kiss a girl at the end again. She says no. But then there's a gay kiss. So gay kissing is okay. Hetero kissing is not. This movie was like a gender studies class, but in a movie. The way that I kind of see this movie and all the kind of female roles and stuff is like the annoying little sister who wants to play with the brothers, or like the brother and the cousin. So imagine the brother and the cousin are kind of playing video games, and then the little girl wants to come and play too, which is basically the feminist ideals shoved into this movie. So your little sister will come and want to play video games. And of course you're like, fuck off, I'm playing with my mate. Then the mum comes in, it's like, no, come on, let her play, let the little girl play. It's like, oh mum, I don't want to have feminist shit in my movie. I don't want my sister to come and play this game. But then the mum really strictly says, you play with your little sister and you don't be mean to her. Come on, you got to make her happy. You've got to just let her win. Okay, so playing games with your little sister. Oh, great job. Well done, little sis. You're so good at this game. Just let her win. She wins like 10-0 playing some whatever game, some fighting game. Okay, that's really good. Thank you. Cheers. You're really great, little sister. Bye-bye. That's like the female characters in this movie. They're not supposed to be there. They're kind of like intruders. They're just pushed in there by the mother, which is Disney, the parents. And then you have to kind of nod along and be politically correct, lest you feel the wrath of the parents or Disney or whatever. They'll brandish you as some terrible person, or they'll punish you, right? It might cancel you. So you have to go, okay, yeah, you're really great. You're a really powerful, strong woman. Well done. Win 10-0. You're invincible. Put the God mode on for the little sister so she can play. That's what this movie is like. This movie is the metaphorical little sister intruding on the man's video game. Just get out of our Star Wars. It doesn't mean women can't enjoy Star Wars. There are loads of women fans out there. Loads of women love it. But when you go to the conventions where they announce new Star Wars stuff, all of the fans are basically men. So the film needed a male lead. So yeah, this movie just stinks of liberal progressivism, just gone too far, gone unchecked. It destroys everything, literally. I mean, if you look at liberal culture, like the stuff which you could argue is the bad part of it, you got things like, just having too much freedom, changing too many things, like normalizing of porn. That basically came from Hollywood. It's an American thing. Porn just became de facto and kind of normal. And as much as we all love porn, it fucks people's minds up, right? You've just got instant access to all this kind of crazy shit that's basically reducing men's, it makes men less horny because they're always watching porn, and it's an addictive thing. It releases happy chemicals in the brain. It means people, have the wrong expectations for relationships and stuff. That's all comes from liberalism. Liberals also embrace nihilism. They're the ones who brought about abortions, normalizing killing of young babies. Hey, I'm all for that. If I knock up a girl and it's legal to kill the baby, let's fucking do it, baby. But just saying, this is what unchecked liberal culture can do. Also, eugenics, which was a big part of the Nazi Party, National Socialism, where the Nazi Party believed in kind of pure kind of Caucasian culture. Liberals are they're obsessed with eugenics. They're obsessed with kind of race and purity and like the perfect kind of person, right? And that's, for them, their kind of torch holder for eugenics is the woman, is the strong, powerful, perfect woman. Yes, I am linking eugenics with a left-wing culture, because abortions, which is basically a left-wing thing, that was basically brought about by Planned Parenthood. And there's a woman, I think her name was Margot or Margaret Sanger, and she was served as the president of Planned Parenthood. She basically, this woman who's a hardcore liberal, brought through abortions in the United States. And she was a massive fan of eugenics. Before the Nazis did all that crazy shit and nearly fucking took over the world, like the First Order in this movie. Before all of that shit happened, before eugenics became taboo, it was really popular with liberals, and it was championed. Go and look up the quotes by Miss Sanger, who was the liberal president of International Planned Parenthood. So also, what do liberals do? They diversified the force. They're obsessed with diversity and inclusion, so they diversified it, which kind of ruined the movie. It's not for everyone now. It's just for women. That's their true intentions. It's not really diverse. It's about promoting their agenda for women. Liberals don't really have a belief system. They're very nihilistic, so they just destroyed all the old characters. It's like tearing down the statues, rewriting history. This is what far left liberal culture does. And this movie is a case of liberalism, aka Disney, which is a super far left company, just going too far. And I'm not saying liberalism is bad at all. I'm just saying extreme liberalism and fanatical far left liberalism is bad. Now, as far as I can see, the reason why the original Star Wars was good was because, like the American kind of Constitution, it's a mix of liberalism and conservatism in one. It's a system of checks and balances. So the reason why, the American system is so great in America, the political system, is because you've got two opposing sides and they're a counterweight to one another. So when the left goes too far, you get something like Trump. And then when Trump goes too far, you're going to get someone on the left, and they all have to agree in Congress and the Senate before they pass through new laws. So they don't let one side go too far, right? And that's what makes the government great. And I think that's kind of what made the original Star Wars so great. It was very progressive, There was like you had all this kind of technology and kind of new stuff and all these belief systems that were kind of really fresh and interesting. And you had people kind of just giving up their home and just traveling to parts of the galaxy, giving up their roots, giving up their safety, going out to find something new. People are kind of building stuff. They're building big tech. Big tech started in Star Wars, right? And you've got the Death Star and all that. But you've also got really conservative stuff. You've got a kind of religious system in place. You've got a real emphasis on family, all that kind of stuff. So the original Star Wars was kind of conservatism and liberalism, a reflection of that as it is today in society. And that's why the film resonates so deeply. There's so many of these themes like politics, religion, romance, all that kind of stuff. But this film, it's like that original system minus the conservatism, and it's just gone so far to the left. And the fanatical leftist politics have just infected this movie and ruined it. So look, those are my top 10 flaws of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, with a couple of bonus ones. I hope you enjoyed it. The reason I made this video was because I just did a rant, which you can see now on the screen. And the rant was just uncontrolled craziness. I just got out of the cinema. I saw the midnight showing. It was late and I just had to get it off my chest. But I kind of thought about it a lot more, and there were some salient points that I kind of missed that I wanted to get off my chest today. So that's why I made the video. Make sure you come back for the next video. Otherwise, I'll be coming around your ass. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified as soon as my videos drop, because that's what all those other cunts tell you to do. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you on the next one.